Hello and welcome to an off-season edition of us talking baseball or something like that. And Sam, are you there?
Yeah, I am. I'm ready
Okay,
to talk baseball.
Sam is here to talk about baseball. So we're actually in the off-season now, properly in the off-season. It's been like almost a month since there was any um, Major League Baseball played.
And since our last podcast, in fact.
Yeah, which is we said in the last one actually because we managed to actually we basically ran out of time, didn't we? We were just going on too much. We said we might do one immediately afterwards, or like soon after, but we didn't. Um,
And we haven't missed anything. The nature of the
no,
baseball's off season is we haven't
yeah.
really missed anything.
Particularly now, it seems everything's the last couple of years it's shifted to being a lot later where everything happens, isn't it? Which
Yeah,
seems like it's probably going to be that way this year, apart from a couple of things that have happened already. Um, Grandal, obviously, signing, and the Braves just signing loads of relief pitchers, pretty much.
yeah, it's only the White Sox and Braves that have signed anyone. Um, the White Sox also tied up Jose Abreu.
Yeah, yeah. Did he reject his qualifying offer then? I think, didn't he?
I can't remember, but they
Because it wasn't only
I've got a
announced the other
feeling.
day that he'd signed some sort of contract.
Yeah,
So
I've
that
got.
must mean he'd.
It's like a 4-year deal.
Yeah, so he must have rejected his
I know
qualifying
it's a
offer.
3-year deal.
That was the
3-year deal, I
interesting
think.
thing with Will Smith, actually, wasn't it? That's um, probably maybe the second or third biggest signing so far this off-season. Um, Will Smith signing for the Braves. That was an interesting thing with the whole qualifying offer stuff, and I feel like for a while, to be honest, they've um, players really the players side of it, they've sort of not caught up. It's taken them a long time to catch up with the when they since they brought qualifying offers in, and I feel like that was his agent did a very good job there. Basically, actually did something sensible.
Abreu accepted it, by the way. It
Oh,
was
did he?
Abreu and Jake Odorizzi accepted
What?
them.
And then
But
signed an
Abreu accept.
extension.
Yeah, I suspect he signed the qualifying offer knowing an extension was coming.
Right. So they probably used it. Maybe they used it like Will Smith's agent did, which is whereas
Yeah,
before the reason a lot of there's a lot of people that say it's stupid and just get rid of it, and it's partly why like the market's changed so much, and it's a lot slower. Is people before basically players have just viewed it as like it hanging around their neck really, and it
yeah,
but really what the point of it is it's an incentive um, for like star players to stay with their own team more, and it's sort of what well Will Smith didn't, but basically they've actually managed to use it as leverage rather than it just being a dampener on their market value, which is usually what it's been.
yeah. And I think there's one player that I think we should come on to in a bit who I think is going to be really interesting to see how it impacts him. Um, there's that mid range, isn't it? Is the mid level player where they've got a dilemma about whether to take
Yeah,
it. Because obviously the top guys, like, you don't really care about a draft pick if you're going to give
yeah,
Garrett Cole $250 million. But there are a few. I don't think there are actually that many this year in that bracket.
yeah,
Like you look at the ones who've turned it down. We've got um, it's Rendon, Donaldson. Obviously, that doesn't matter. Azuna, come on to him later. Cole, Strasburg, Wheeler, Bumgarner. They're all the guys who turned it down.
yeah.
I don't.
Wheeler turning it down is maybe Baumgartner a bit as well. Those two
Yeah,
out of that group are probably the um, whereas that may have been made more sense to accept it. Wheeler particularly.
but I think he's. I don't know because I think he's going to get more money guaranteed than the qualifying offer is.
Yeah, but the thing is that what I feel like more players should start doing, and what they should have done already, is because it's only 1 year, you can basically accept it for 1 year and then go back into the market next year. Particularly for guys that are youngish, like Wheeler.
He's 30.
No, okay, I guess he's not.
I thought. I'm
known
surprised
as,
to see
he
that.
seems to be known as like a promising, like young pitcher, but I guess he's not really. But
my concern with Wheeler would be he's only actually played 5 seasons. He's only got 126 major league starts. Health-wise, it's like he takes a qualifying offer, is injured all next year.
I guess he's a starting pitcher, so maybe it's. I mean, their value's usually quite high anyway. But I mean, 18 million for like 1 year for a player like Wheeler. I feel like it's sort of a good deal, and he's probably. I wouldn't have thought he's going to get that much more guaranteed. And if he does, it'll be a lot lower.
Oh yeah, the AAV will be way lower.
Yeah. So I mean, players like that, I feel like they should just accept it, because also what it does, you're talking about, it doesn't matter when you're signing like Garrett Cole for loads of money, and he's going to change your franchise and stuff, giving away the draft pick. For the teams, well, it's not necessarily the teams, but just anyone that's going to be signing Zach Wheeler, for example. I mean, he's just like a complementary piece in your rotation, isn't he? Really, if you're trying to compete.
If you're going to be good, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact you have to give up a draft pick for that is going to hurt what people are going to want to offer him money-wise as well, a lot. Like, basically how much they're valuing that draft pick, and they value them a lot. That's what I mean. Because the thing that people have, I feel like players and agents have not. It's taken them a long time to pick up on, is the part of the rule where it's that you can only get given one qualifying offer for your whole career. So as we're now a bit deeper into it, you're getting some players coming to free agency again that may well have been given qualifying offers before, but because they've already had one, they can't be given them, and it's going to start happening more and more. But so if you just accept it, you accept it one time, particularly when it's like a really good value for 1 year for you. You're not going to have it hang over you the next year, and you're just a free agent a year later instead.
That's high-end Jin Ryu, isn't it?
Automatic 18 million.
He took it last year, and then had that stonking first half of the season. His free agency is going to be interesting.
Example of it.
But he's also 33, and his second half of last year wasn't good.
No.
So it's going to be fascinating to see what actually happens with him, because he had health issues as well, didn't he? He only started 29 games, and he's, after being ridiculous in the first half, he wasn't quite as good. And he's in his mid-30s now.
Yeah, and it's like almost 1 year, really, isn't it? Before he's not been anywhere near that level.
No.
The starting pitching market, though, is actually looking quite good, isn't it? Quite interesting.
Well, Cole Hamels is apparently... There have been a few rumours about Cole Hamels getting a lot of interest. Like, even Tanner Roark, who had a really nice year last year. The further down you get, they're like solid arms to fill out a rotation. I'm in the process of writing something about Dallas Keuchel, in fact.
Just found it really fun. I'm just looking down the free agent pitchers list on Baseball Reference, and the 12th best free agent pitcher is apparently Brian Dozier, and the 15th is Jed Jerko.
That seems unlikely.
With Brian Dozier was 18 ERA last year.
Yeah, that's not great, is
one
it?
inning pitched.
I think there are more people who are better than him.
Yeah, it's just they're going to have to adapt their whatever they do for this list. They're going to have to adapt the code slightly, since position players are now pitching like every other day.
Yeah, it's not such a freak occurrence anymore.
Yeah.
So, I think the pitching market is going to be... I mean, the Cole and Strasburg stuff gets loads of attention, but in a way, I find that less interesting because, it's just superstars getting huge amounts of money. They're a very obvious difference maker, but often what sets a front office apart from an inferior front office is which of like the veterans that are just either coming off a good year or not coming off a good year do they pick up and then get that last little bit out of.
Yeah.
So, like Michael Pineda here, Kyle
That's
Gibson, Cole
that's
Hamels.
yeah. From
Who
a
gets
team's point of
value?
view, that's how you have a good free agency, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
because
it's
obviously it's a
the
good free agency
it's
if you
the
get Garrett
complementary
Cole.
guys. Yeah, you ping up one of the big guys. Yeah, that's an obvious move, and it's obviously it's a good move, but it's like an obvious move. It's like you can't really give that much credit to the front office for saying, I know what, let's sign Garrett Cole.
Yeah, it's like, well done, mate. Yes, congrats, you're a genius. That's not it, is it? That doesn't
No,
that's not good baseballing. That's just having a huge pile of money. Not to mention that you're not even competing with most of MLB for Garrett Cole because so many teams are just not giving out that contract. How many
yeah.
teams are realistically in play for him? Like 10, maybe?
Have you heard anything about Rich Hill, by the way?
I read an article
Is
on
he?
MLB that included him in the list of undervalued free agents.
So, but he is actually going to be playing next year.
Yeah, but
It's not.
he's silly, isn't he? I
Yeah,
mean,
he's not. He's
he
not that good. But I was just wondering whether he's actually a valid free agent because he's like 40. I
but
mean,
he's one I could see going to one of the small market clever teams, and
yeah,
they might
he'd be
even use him.
perfect for someone like the Rays, wouldn't he?
They might even use him as a bridge guy.
Yeah,
Like, don't we know that you fall apart if you try and throw 5 innings, so don't. We're going to have an opener throw a million miles an hour for 2 innings, and then you're going to do
yeah.
three, but you're just going to throw
From
curveballs and no one's
from
going to hit them.
from watching him quite a few times, he's one of the perfect examples, I think, of 2 times through the lineup he's brilliant. Third time, he's just pointless.
Yeah, well,
Really, he's
he's
basically a
not
two
got the
pitch. He's a two pitch pitcher, and he's not got big velocity.
yeah, it's not going to
Yeah,
work, is it? So he's one. That's the sort of guy that you think maybe someone picks him up and uses him in a different way, or just really monitors him carefully. Somehow gets like 140 innings out of him,
yeah,
and it really moves the needle for your team.
yeah. And
There's tons
it
of them.
won't be a big expensive acquisition, but that's the sort of thing.
I mean,
Certain teams, that's like he's perfect for. I think.
pitcher performance is so variable. Like you look down this list, and you've got like Derek Holland, who the year before last was solid. Trevor Cahill, year before last was solid. Those two, because I'm looking at the thing ranked by 2019 WAR, they're almost at the bottom of the list here.
Oh right.
And like, there's nothing to say that those two don't come and give a good year for someone as a like fifth/sixth starter, and that makes a real difference.
And
That earns you like,
people like Alex Wood.
yeah, that
Like
was another one I just thought. He's only 29.
Alex Wood, Wade Miley, like those guys who a couple of years ago were like really, really good and have had very up and down careers. Really,
Yeah,
it's like
if you,
can someone pick them up and
I'm not
um,
sure if it's luck, coaching, or judgment, or maybe a combination. But like these guys who've been up and down, you either get them and they happen to be good, or maybe you get them and you tweak something that means that they're good for you when they weren't good last year. But that is really what makes the difference. Aside from, maybe someone gets Cole, Strasburg, Ryu, and Wheeler,
yeah,
and then yes, suddenly you've got a good rotation. Like that, in a way, that free agency stuff doesn't interest me that much because, like we just said, it's sort of just it's like the Premier League basically. Then
yeah,
it's one of the things I really like about American sports. Is it's not like the Premier League. It's not.
it's not
Oh, we
about
could
who.
sort of do with a backup winger. I know we'll buy Riyad Mahrez. Like that.
No,
That
yeah,
that stuff isn't fascinating really because it's not about finding value. It's about having a huge,
although
huge pot money.
that's basically the Yankees are like, isn't it? The Yankees basically play a different game
Well, they could
in that
do.
way.
There's talk they might do that this year, but they haven't. They didn't do it last year,
No,
did they? They held back. Um, should we move on to some individual players? Should we touch on Grandal first because
yeah,
that's a pretty big move.
actual done move that could be one of the biggest and most significant of the whole off season, to be honest, even with the other guys on the table. Because I mean, we've been saying for a while, haven't we? Actually, how like for like a couple of years, he's actually very underrated. It feels like
Yeah,
he's based. I think he's probably been like top top three like the last couple of years, and even longer. He's probably been like around a top five catcher in the league. He's like an elite framer, like pretty good at everything else defensively, and also like one of the best offensive catchers
yeah.
in the
The
league.
only
I mean, it's very very
th-
solid
is I
acquisition.
think is a very good move from them. The only thing I was very surprised by was the 4-year deal.